J-Dub is back at it here to give everyone another UFC video, specifically my UFC 252 post-fight thoughts and analysis. I'm going to start off in the heavyweight division. There'll be 3 fights. I'll be talking about the ones I gave predictions for. Junior Dos Santos faced off against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I ended up being right with this one. Jairzinho Rozenstruik won via second round TKO. It wasn't the most exciting fight. Dos Santos looked really good. He just got caught. Unfortunately, his chin isn't, it's not existent anymore because he gets knocked out a lot lately. But Rozenstruik looked really hesitant in the fight, and even the announcers picked up on the fact that he looked hesitant after I said it. But Rozenstruik won via TKO, and that was kind of nice that he, sat next to Dos Santos, laying, on the floor next to the cage. That was kind of cool. So, Rozenstruik, I think he either fights Curtis Blades, Derek Lewis, or a champion next, which he'll probably fight the winner of Blades Lewis if they fight. But I want to see him fight Derek Lewis. I think that would be a great fight. I think. Next up in the UFC bantamweight division, we had Chico Vera versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. Unfortunately, Sean O'Malley's right leg buckled and something went wrong with it. I don't know if it was his ankle or his shin or his foot. And Vera was able to capitalize on that and ended up knocking him out. Well, ended up having to stop it, I should say. And it's unfortunate. I mean, O'Malley, I think, looked good until that happened, and I think he would have won the fight. So my prediction there was not the case, and I lost money on that one. So it is what it is. Vera, though, he looked really good, though. He's crazy, and I think he should get a top 10 guy for sure. And maybe work his way up the ranks in the bantamweight division. Bantamweight's got a lot of killers right now in it. It's a dangerous division. And then, of course, in the main event of the evening, Daniel DC Cormier versus Stipe Miocic 3. I predicted DC, and unfortunately Stipe won. DC looked really good in the first round. He only went for 1 takedown, and that was it. He should have utilized his wrestling a lot more, I think. At least 1 takedown per round. And then the thing is that DC got rocked in the second round toward the end. It almost looked kind of like what exactly happened in their second fight, where DC got hit the body shots all the time, and then he got rocked, and then he was up against the cage, and Stipe finished him. Something very similar happened in this fight, although it was close to the end of the round, so Stipe wasn't able to finish him, but he had him in a sitting full mount just about, and DC was in trouble. So he didn't look all that great after that, and then at the end of the third round, he got poked right in the left eye really bad, and then DC went to his corner, and he specifically said, "I can't see." So DC fought the rest of the fight with one eye, and unfortunately, Stipe, a lot of people said Stipe was really dominant and is the greatest heavyweight of all time. I was impressed with some of the adjustments Stipe made, but there's points where Cormier would try to tie him up, and they tie up, and Stipe would just walk Cormier to the cage and stand there. He wouldn't do anything. I think I only saw him do one. I might have to watch the fight again, and maybe I just missed something. But I saw him throw 1 knee, and that was at the end of the fight. Otherwise, he'd walk him to the cage, stand against the cage, and just hold him there. I don't know. I don't call that. I mean, okay, I guess it's octagon control, but to me, some of the judges scored it 4-1. Stipe, I had a 2-2 going into the 5th round. So it was anybody's game going in the 5th, in my opinion. And they gave it to Stipe. It is what it is. DC, I think the eye injury really had a lot to do with it. And his lack of going for takedowns. But I don't know, maybe there was something. Maybe when he did the 1 takedown, Stipe did get up right away. Maybe he thought, I'm going to expand and use too much energy if I try to do this. And I want to save my energy. But he wasn't catching Stipe as much in this. But DC has a thing. If he ducks his head, he throws an overhand right. And I would have tried to capitalize on that. Because he does that all the time and try to catch him with that. But anyway, Stipe's the champ, and now it's Francis Ngannou next for him, and then John Jones might face the winner of that fight, possibly, because John Jones apparently wants to go to heavyweight, as there's more money involved in the heavyweight division. So, unfortunately, I got 2 of the 3 fights I made predictions for wrong. It is what it is. I mean, I think the Sean O'Malley injury had a lot to do with that outcome being different. I think it would have been a crazy fight had that not happened. And then DC and Stipe, obviously the eye poke really hurt him. I mean, Stipe got poked in the eye too, but DC got poked in the eye, and there was no stoppage for that. No, like, minute, 2 minute break, but if the doctors would have took a look at it, they would have realized that DC couldn't see and they would have stopped the fight. And then DC would have been pissed. So, I want to take this time to congratulate Daniel Cormier on an awesome UFC career. If this is his last fight, he, all the things the fighters say about him, he's a damn good fighter. Sometimes he's a little bit boring, especially against Anderson Silva at UFC 200. But other than that, he finished his fights. He had a war with Alexander Gustafsson. He had a war with John Jones. That John Jones won pretty easy, but it was a war for DC. And then the second fight, when he got that head kick, that's like one of my favorite moments in fight history. So, DC, props to you, man. You did good. I can't believe I started rooting for you after the Derek Lewis fight. Every Stipe fight, I was 100% on board with Daniel Cormier, which is quite surprising because, I don't know, if DC wants to fight again, lose the weight, go back down to light heavyweight, and win that title again. Let John Jones go to heavyweight. You go to light heavyweight, win the title, and retire as a lightweight because you're just kind of small, man. I don't know. But DC, awesome job, bud. You have nothing to be ashamed for. Stipe fought a good fight. He fought a very defensive fight. He walked you up against the cage and just held you there. I don't know. I don't think Daniel Cormier would have done that. But it is what it is. But it wasn't the funnest card to watch. It was a little bit boring. And I didn't have a lot of people over at my establishment. So, again, props to DC. If this is your last fight, you've earned my respect. And I like you as a fighter. And, of course, if you're a fan of UFC and you like this video or you like my predictions or you like my post-fight analysis, sorry I only did 3 fights, talked about 3 fights, go ahead and smash that like button. If you know anyone else that's a fan of UFC and that would like or be interested in listening to these type of videos, go ahead and share it with them. Keep in mind there's some cranes outside my house right now making a bunch of noise. If you could, leave me a comment with your thoughts, predictions for future fights, what you thought was going to happen at this card, anything you could think of, because I want to get the comments up. And last but certainly not least, hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, and show your support. And of course, JDev will return.